Trick 'r Treat came out in 2007 and was written and directed by Michael Daughtry. Now, full disclosure for this review, this is by far my personal favorite Halloween movie of all time. I think for me, it's honestly just because I see it as kind of a flawless Halloween movie for my personal taste. So if I was really to describe like my favorite kind of horror movie, is something that actually makes me scared. But then whenever it comes to Halloween movies, I love a movie that's more creepy than scary. And with Trick 'r Treat or Trick 'r Treat, it's the perfect balance of fun and even comedy, but then creepiness and scared. How I always get somebody to watch this movie is I always describe it as like an adult Goosebumps movie. At the time, they were so good because like it wasn't even fun whenever you were just like scared out of your mind and you couldn't go to sleep the next day, but you wanted just enough creepiness for it to be fun, for you to have like a good time, but you could also go to bed at night. And to be honest, that's exactly what Trick 'r Treat is. Now, the funny thing about Trick 'r Treat is that it never really came out in theaters. Now, since it's become, you know, a cult classic really, it's been out in theaters. But whenever the movie was made, it was actually shelved after the studio saw it, and then they put it straight on VHS instead of it going to the theaters, which obviously is mind-blowing just because of how good the movie is. So basically you have these different storylines that all happen independently, but then all kind of come together for one storyline that makes a lot of sense once you actually get to the end of the movie. It's structured a little bit like Pulp Fiction, only at the very end it's tied together very neatly so that you don't have to watch it like 500 times for it to make sense. And honestly, again, this is one of the best movies, I would say, structurally, just because it does interesting things like that, but it makes it very easy to follow and easy to watch, even though it's not completely linear. So whenever this guy introduced me to Trick 'r Treat, he's like, okay, you have to watch this like with a complete open mind. It gets weird at points, but I think you'll like it. And honestly, after I watched, especially at certain points, again, no spoilers, but especially like, we'll just say werewolves, it's just so weird. And like over the years, I've kind of accepted the fact that I like sort of weird movies, but this movie, it just like, it plays into the weirdness. Like it knows that it's weird. And whenever I introduce this movie to other people, and it's just like, you have to almost prepare people. You have to be like, okay, like this movie has some really weird points in it, but trust me, just make it through and you'll really like it. And so far, I've shown this to at least 4 different people and they've all liked it. I give Trick 'r Treat an A. So yeah, for me, Trick 'r Treat is something that I've watched every single year since it was introduced to me, like about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's just an absolute staple. I watch Trick 'r Treat, I watch the original Halloween, I watch the original Scream movies, but Trick 'r Treat is just, to me, it's the perfect Halloween movie. And if you're having like a Halloween movie marathon or something like that, this is definitely a staple.